In a historic twist within the Vatican, long-hidden secrets from Pope Francis's private quarters have finally come to light, reshaping everything we thought we knew about the Catholic Church's future. These once-sealed documents reveal not just bold strategic initiatives, but a sweeping vision of reform Pope Francis has been quietly crafting behind the scenes. The revelations have sent shockwaves through the Vatican's leadership and sparked whispers of an impending silent revolution poised to redefine the Church. As powerful forces inside and outside the Church begin to stir, one question still hangs in the air. Will these revelations be strong enough to reshape the future of the Church, or will they be buried once again by the weight of conservative resistance? If this story moved you or opened your eyes to the deeper truths behind Vatican walls, leave a comment below. Type 1 if you support Pope Francis and connect with his mission, or 0 if you see it differently. Don't forget to like and share so your friends can stay informed as this remarkable story continues to unfold. No explanations were offered, no visitors permitted, not even senior clergy were allowed entry. Why does whatever lies beyond those walls demand such extreme secrecy? Is it just standard protocol, or is something being hidden that could rock the Church to its core? This isn't simply about where Pope Francis rested, it's about what he may have left behind now as whispers turn into speculation. People are beginning to ask, could his modest way of life have been a veil for something far more powerful? Because Pope Francis's simple life might not be as simple as it appeared, his humility is exactly what earned him the title, the People's Pope. From the moment he emerged on the global stage, he set himself apart from those who came before. No grand processions, no golden throne, just a man of faith choosing to walk beside the people, not above them. But behind this humble image, there may be something deeper. For years, his modest lifestyle has quietly served as a strategy, a reflection of his mission to reform the Church and stand with the poor and marginalized. Living at Casa Santa Marta wasn't just a personal choice. It was a powerful statement now with his departure and the sudden lockdown of his private quarters. People are starting to question what's truly going on behind those tightly closed doors. Some inside the Vatican believe Pope Francis turned his quiet, modest surroundings into a sanctuary, a place where strategies were crafted, letters written, and secrets kept far from the gaze of those resisting his reforms. One source suggested that while he lived, simply his vision was anything but small. Now the question lingers, could the walls of Casa Santa Marta be guarding more than just a pope's possessions? Could it hold the blueprint for a transformed church? What's hidden inside isn't just a modest room. It's what that room might be concealing. And when Vatican officials sealed it off, they weren't preserving memories. They were protecting something far more powerful. So is this just tradition? Or is the Vatican rushing to guard secrets that could rewrite everything? Let's uncover the truth behind the locked doors of the Pope's residence and ask why this time feels unlike any other Vatican protocol or something far deeper. When a pope dies, tradition dictates that his residence be sealed to protect his personal items, letters and official documents until they're formally reviewed. Usually it's a quiet ceremonial process. But this time, something feels off. When Vatican guards locked down Pope Francis's quarters, whispers rippled through Rome. Questions began to surface: why the sudden urgency, and why now are there really secrets hidden behind those walls that someone doesn't want the world to see? Allegations are now swirling about hidden documents, private writings, and even lists of names tucked away inside. Some say these aren't just ordinary papers, but bold reform plans Pope Francis never got to unveil. One Vatican insider reportedly said, "What's in there isn't just history, it's the future of the Church." Then came the whispers that really stirred attention: documents outlining a secret succession plan, radical ideas to reshape the Church, and actions so bold they may be exactly what certain powers inside the Vatican hope to keep buried. Why were even senior cardinals turned away? What could be so sensitive that the Vatican moved with such urgency? This wasn't just a ritual. It felt like a race against time to contain something explosive, information powerful enough to ignite global debate or even divide the Church. And through all the hushed conversations and swirling rumors, one name keeps rising to the surface, a name said to be deeply connected to these hidden plans: Luis Antonio Tagle. So what exactly did Pope Francis leave behind, and why is Tagle's name suddenly at the center of it all? Let's dive into the core of this unfolding mystery, because behind those walls may lie a blueprint powerful enough to reshape the Church's future. When Vatican officials sealed off Pope Francis's modest quarters, no one could have predicted what would come next. Whispers of hidden documents began to spread, but these weren't just personal mementos or routine papers. No, according to insiders, what they discovered was nothing short of a blueprint, a vision that could forever reshape the Catholic Church. Whispers from behind closed doors speak of personal letters handwritten by Pope Francis himself. Letters that reveal ideas far more radical than anything he ever shared publicly. Reform strategies, a bold plan for a more inclusive Church, and perhaps most astonishing of all, a list of successors he believed could carry his mission forward. Popes aren't permitted to name their own successors. It breaks with long-standing tradition, but Francis was never one to follow the rules blindly. He knew the pushback would be fierce and that real change would need a fearless voice to keep it alive. As one Vatican source quietly said, Francis didn't just hope for change, he prepared for it. And at the center of those preparations, one name appeared again and again: Luis Antonio Tagle. It's said these documents don't just mention Tagle casually. They place him at the very heart of a future Church, one founded on compassion, equality, and a renewed connection to the modern world. If the reports are true, Pope Francis didn't leave his legacy to chance, he guided it from beyond the grave. But this revelation brings even more questions. Why were these documents hidden? Were they part of a plan to be unveiled gradually, or kept secret to shield them from immediate backlash by powerful conservative forces within the Vatican? Is Tagle truly part of this hidden vision? What does his role mean for the Church's next chapter? One thing is certain. These aren't just dusty documents. They're the seeds of a silent revolution waiting to erupt, but who's really behind it? Why did Pope Francis place such deep trust in Luis Antonio Tagle? Now it's time to focus on the quiet figure who's remained in the background for years, shielded in secrecy. Luis Antonio Tagle moves through the Vatican with humility, grace, and a powerful connection to the people that sets him apart. He never chased the spotlight, but someone saw him. Someone who mattered the path from the lively streets of Manila to becoming one of the most trusted voices in the Vatican. Wasn't coincidence, it was built on shared values, quiet conversations, and a mutual dream of a Church rooted in service. Not rigid tradition, many now call him the Asian Francis, a name that speaks volumes like Pope Francis Tagle, values humility over hierarchy and compassion over control. Behind closed doors, the two reportedly shared countless private meetings focused not just on the present, but on the future. One insider revealed that Francis didn't just see a cardinal in Tagle, he saw the future of his vision over time. Tagle was given delicate missions, global responsibilities, and reform efforts that echoed Francis's own beliefs for those paying attention. It's clear Tagle isn't just another church figure. He's being shaped, prepared for something far greater that still lies ahead. With the hidden documents now coming to light, the pieces start falling into place. Tagle isn't just a trusted advisor. He may be the one chosen to lead a quiet revolution, yet he never speaks of ambition, never hints at seeking a higher role. And that's exactly what made him so compelling to Pope Francis. A servant, not a seeker of power. Could this secretive advisory role be part of a larger, carefully crafted plan? And as the world starts connecting the dots, one haunting question emerges. Did Pope Francis already know that his time was running out? Could he have quietly crafted a succession plan to live beyond his own time? Let's take a closer look at the bond between Pope Francis and his protege, because within it may lie a decision years in the making. An invisible roadmap to the future popes are not allowed to name their successors. It's a rule rooted deep in church tradition. But if anyone could guide the future without breaking the rules, it would be Pope Francis for years. He's spoken openly about his declining health, hinted at the idea of retirement, and made quiet strategic moves that now seem far more intentional. He's not just preparing for retirement. He's preparing the church for what comes after behind the scenes. Many believe he's crafting an invisible succession plan, not through official announcements, but by guiding and positioning trusted figures like Luis Antonio Tagle exactly where they need to be, as one Vatican analyst put it. Francis hasn't left the future to chance, he's planted the seeds, and Tagle is the strongest among them. The sudden sealing of Pope Francis's residence now feels different. Is it really about safeguarding personal items? Or is it about protecting sensitive plans, waiting for the right moment? How deliberately has Francis mapped the road ahead? If you believe the truth shouldn't be buried, share this video right now. Someone out there may need to see a side of the story they've never known. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is unfolding behind the Vatican's closed doors? We want to hear your voice. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, so you're the first to know when the next part is revealed. This isn't just a story. It's a moment in history being written, and you are part of it. If these hidden documents truly place Tagle at the heart of this strategy, it could explain everything. The quiet meetings, his swift rise within the Vatican, and the sudden urgency to seal Pope Francis's residence after his passing. Such a plan would carry serious risks. The Church's power factions would fight to preserve control, and a progressive successor like Tagle could disrupt everything the conservatives have tried to hold on to. Is that why the Vatican is moving so quickly to control when and how these revelations are exposed? Right now, the world is holding its breath, watching to see if Pope Francis's quiet strategy will be strong enough to outlast him, or if internal resistance will succeed in silencing his vision. One thing is certain. If Tagle is truly the one chosen by the Pope, his mission is far greater than anyone realizes. But what is that mission exactly? Is it the beginning of a reformist revolution or a bold gamble that could shake the church to its core? Explore whether Tegel is truly being tasked with completing a reformist revolution or taking a monumental risk, because if the whispers behind Vatican walls are true and Luis Antonio Tegel stands at the center of Pope Francis's hidden vision, then he isn't just stepping into leadership. He's walking a tightrope stretched between centuries of tradition and a future still being written with no safety net. Below Tegel's legacy has always been one of humility and heart from his early years in the Philippines. He was known not as the cardinal who commands, but as the one who listens while others preach. He walks beside the poor stands with refugees and gives voice to those forgotten by the world and at times by the church itself. In many ways, Tegel embodies everything Pope Francis has spent years championing: a church that welcomes, instead of excludes, that leads with mercy, instead of judgment, that chooses compassion over control. But now the stakes have never been higher, with reports emerging of hidden documents discovered in the sealed quarters of Pope Francis's residence. The question is no longer just about vision. It's about whether that vision will survive. These documents are said to lay out a bold and daring vision for reform. Tegel now faces a challenge far greater than acts of charity or pastoral outreach. This isn't just about compassion anymore. It's about standing up to centuries of tradition, unspoken rules, and powerful forces determined to keep the church unchanged, as one sharp-eyed Vatican insider put it. Tegel isn't simply being called to lead. He's being called to finish what Francis began. It's a perilous path, because every step toward reform carries a price. If Tegel pushes for greater inclusion, whether it's empowering women, embracing marginalized communities, or deepening interfaith dialogue, he risks igniting fierce backlash from those who view such changes as betrayal rather than progress. For every voice that hails his vision, another will rise to accuse him of shaking the very pillars of the church. And we must remember, the Vatican is a place where power rarely shouts. It whispers, moves in shadows, and is anchored in centuries of unshakable tradition. Tegel is about to enter a battlefield where polite smiles hide deep resistance and centuries-old tradition is wielded like a weapon. So what is this mission really? Is it just reform, a slow, gentle shift in how the church engages with the modern world? Or is it something far more daring, a quiet revolution wrapped in the language of compassion, but designed to shake the foundations of a 2,000-year-old institution? It's a risk most wouldn't dare to take. But for Tegel, with the trust of Pope Francis behind him, and perhaps guided by the Pope's final wish, turning back may no longer be an option. This is no longer about personal choice. It's about a responsibility that could define the future of the Catholic Church. But let's be clear, not everyone stands with Tegel or supports the vision he may be stepping into, while the world watches, with hope forces inside the Vatican are already mobilizing to protect the status quo, because wherever whispers of revolution begin, resistance always follows. Lift the veil, and you'll see a growing silent opposition deep in the heart of Rome, a force quietly working to halt Tegel before he ever takes a step. The Vatican's resistance doesn't shout it, whispers carefully, deliberately, and always with the same warning: don't rush. Inside the ancient walls of the Vatican, whispers aren't just opinions, they're strategic moves and often carry more weight than public applause throughout his papacy. Pope Francis has done more than lead prayers. He's waged quiet battles behind closed doors in hushed meetings and within corridors steeped in centuries of tradition where vision often bows to legacy. His push for a more inclusive, compassionate church has won the hearts of millions across the globe. But inside the Vatican, it's also stirred tensions that no sermon can soothe. But within the Vatican's conservative circles, every move toward reform is seen not just as a challenge to doctrine, but as a direct threat to the power structures they've guarded for generations. With Pope Francis's departure, these factions don't see a time to grieve, but a chance to reclaim control they feel is fading, and standing firmly in their way is one man who embodies everything they fear for millions around the world. Luis Antonio Tagle represents hope. But inside the walls of Rome, he may be seen as the line that cannot be crossed. But to those clinging to the old order, Tagle represents something far more threatening. He is the living symbol of Francis's unfinished revolution within the Vatican whispers. Warned that a Tagle era wouldn't just bring change, it would dismantle centuries of control, not out of recklessness, but out of a deeper fear. The fear of losing power. And that fear may be exactly why the Vatican moved so quickly to seal off Pope Francis's residence, locking away not just his memories, but perhaps the roadmap to everything they're trying to resist. Is the sealing of his residence truly about honoring his legacy, or is it a calculated move to suppress the boldest parts of his vision plans that, if exposed, could propel the church into a future many are working quietly to prevent? A silent war is now underway, one most Catholics will never see. It's not waged with speeches or headlines, but through quiet resistance, delays, and strategic moves behind closed doors. A battle is unfolding between those who believe the church must evolve to endure and those convinced its survival depends on preserving every tradition untouched and whether he sought it or not. Tagle now finds himself at the very heart of this conflict. Every move he makes, every word he speaks, or chooses not to, will be watched by those lying in wait for the chance to tear him down. And the most dangerous resistance is always the kind that stays silent, because you never see it coming until it's already done. The real question now is whether Tagle can break through this unseen wall of resistance, or if the hidden forces within the Vatican will succeed in burying Pope Francis's most daring plans forever. But this isn't just a matter of church politics. The outcome of this quiet power struggle will echo far beyond Rome, shaping the future of over 1 billion Catholics and influencing the church's role in global battles for human rights, poverty, justice, and climate action. Whoever wins this silent war won't just define the next pope. They'll define the church's place in the modern world. So what happens if Tagle chooses to move forward in spite of the resistance? Could the secrets locked away in Pope Francis's sealed quarters spark a transformation that shakes every corner of the world? Let's uncover how these hidden truths might ignite a new era for the Catholic Church and why the world can't afford to look away. Because if Luis Antonio Tagle steps into the role many believe Pope Francis quietly shaped for him, the impact won't stop at the Vatican's gates. It will echo across nations, faiths, and generations to come. A church led by Tagle could signal a monumental shift from a Eurocentric institution to one that truly reflects a global faith community, one that speaks directly to the rising voices of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and tackles real-world challenges like climate change, migration, poverty, and social justice. Not just matters of doctrine, as one commentator put it. This isn't just about religion, it's about redefining the church's role in today's world. Under Tagle's leadership, we could witness a church that embraces interfaith dialogue, stands up for human rights, and finally faces the long-avoided questions of inclusion and equality head-on. But a transformation like this would stir not only hope, but deep controversy. Political leaders and traditionalists across nations may resist a church that steps beyond the pulpit to challenge global systems and speak to urgent worldly issues. Could this be Pope Francis's final vision to pass the torch to someone bold enough to break old walls and reshape the church into a force truly relevant to today's diverse and changing world? If that's the case, then what lies within that sealed residence isn't just a set of documents. It's a blueprint for global transformation. And as the truth slowly begins to surface, one final question lingers. What does the future hold? And is Tagle truly prepared to face it? The doors may be locked, the secrets buried for now, but the very discovery of what rests inside Pope Francis's residence has already begun to shake the foundations of the Church, and the ripple effects are only just beginning. The world watches quietly, holding its breath, to see whether Luis Antonio Tagle will rise and fulfill the role outlined in those hidden documents. Will he carry forward Pope Francis's vision, or be pulled down by the weight of tradition and resistance that surrounds him? Tagle has remained publicly silent on these revelations, but in moments like this, silence can speak louder than any declaration. The Catholic Church now stands at a critical crossroads. One path leads to transformation, the other to preservation of the past. Though the truth behind the sealed doors of Pope Francis's residence remains hidden, one thing is undeniable. We are standing at a pivotal moment in the history of the Catholic Church. What's been uncovered isn't just paperwork, it's a quiet legacy, a bold vision Pope Francis may have left behind, and now the eyes of the world are fixed on what happens next. This journey is far from over, with unanswered questions, rising silent resistance stirring, and the fate of billions of believers being shaped in real time. If you believe this story deserves to be heard, like the video, share it with those who care, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is really happening behind the scenes? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next episode will take you even deeper into the labyrinth of power, faith, and truth. Be a voice in this unfolding moment. Change begins when we dare to face the truth together.